Yep. Well, we can say that. We can say it's. We can say. We can say it's back. We can say I'm back. Haven't been posting any videos. Haven't been making any videos in a while. I think it's been like 3 months, maybe 4 months. But I have. I heard the Iceberg's opinion. I heard Dale Jr.'s opinion. I heard Jet MDK's opinion. They all gave their parts. That's the reason why. And Dale Jr. gave his parts. And now I want to do my part. That's the reason why I have to make this video. That's the reason why I have to make this video today. And have to warn you guys. This video is you're gonna hear me rant a lot in this video. Just like Jet MDK, he ranted about Sunday's Food City 500. I mean, you can't get mad at Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson dominated. This is like the second time Kyle Larson dominated Bristol. Back-to-back Bristol wins, 400. He led over 400 laps. That's the second time he's done it. You can't get mad at him dominating the race because Cale Yarborough dominated Bristol back in 1981. Darrell Waltrip, he won 9 times. Darrell Waltrip has the most wins there. Like he got 9 wins at Bristol. Last win came from 92 in the track. Was when the track was first became a concrete oval. Because back in the 1980s and 1990, because back when the track was first built in 1961, all the way until 1992, the track was Bristol Motor Speedway was asphalt, and then SMI paved it with concrete in 1992. Bristol Motor Speedway is an SMI track. And they redid it in 2007, added progressive banking to it. The racing wasn't bad. I mean, we still had the Gen 4 back in 2007. The Xfinity Series ran the Gen 4 from all the way up until 2000, all the way up until 2010. And the racing wasn't bad there. At the progressive banking. But it happens. This is the 4th year. This is like the 4th year we've been in the next gen. We've been in the next gen. The 4th year, and it has not improved once on short tracks. The next gen car has not improved once at a short in a single race at a short track. People say it's. I mean, yesterday's Food City 500. It was horrible. It was a horrible. It was a horrible event. Probably one of the worst events. Probably worse than the Sharpie 500 last year. I mean, last year's Food City 500 was an amazing race, but this one, yeah, this one is below zero. Jet MDK gave it a rank above 0. I'm going to give it below 0. Below 0%. Dale Jr. expressed it. Yeah, Dale Jr. expressed it twice in this podcast. Yes, this is a panic. Yes, it's a time of panic if you're a fan of short tracks. Short tracks was NASCAR's bread and butter. And yet the next gen race is terrible. The race is horrible on these tracks. Tracks like Bristol, Richmond, Martinsville. The car race is terrible. It's not the track. People keep on blaming it on the track. That's the reason why tracks keep on losing dates. They keep on blaming it all on the track. Have you ever thought about Have you ever thought it's about is something else other than the track? Maybe the car is an issue. The next Gen 6 was an issue. Just Gen 6 was an issue in the intermediates because NASCAR refused to add more horsepower. And now in the next gen, it's short tracks and super speedways like Daytona and Talladega. That car, the next gen car, that car is a sports car. There's no other way around. Even Dale Jr. expressed that. Even Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of my favorite drivers ever, expressed that at least twice. The next gen car is a sports car, and it's running ovals. An IMSA European car. That's what the next gen is. And yet it's running ovals. Drivers have to shift up and down on an oval. I don't mind Martinsville and Pocono because drivers shift a lot, even in the Gen 4 era. You see drivers shift down in the turns at Martinsville, and you see drivers shift up and down at Pocono, all the way into the Gen 6. But the next gen, you're seeing shifting everywhere and on every single oval, except for Daytona and Talladega. The only place you're going to see shifting at Daytona is under caution. That's the only thing you're going to see drivers shifting, or they have to go on the pit road and go out of pit road. People say that People say that it is the track that is the problem. That is the problem at Bristol. Why we had so terrible racing at Bristol this past Sunday Sprint Cup Series race. The Xfinity Series race was really good. Kyle Larson dominated the weekend. Kyle Larson dominated this past Sunday. People say that it's the tires. Number one, progressive banking was added at Bristol in 2007, and we still saw amazing racing even with that banking, even with that new added banking. We even saw several photo finishes at Bristol in the Xfinity Series race. Some during the night, some during the daytime. We saw some crazy finishes in the Xfinity Series. We even saw one crazy finish in the Cup Series. Chase Elliott and Joey Logano sent Joey Logano on the wall, and it was in the 2020 Food City 500, and it was with aggressive brake. It was with that aggressive. It was with that new added banking added to Bristol. The car is the issue. The car is not the track. It is the next gen. That is the issue at Bristol. Those big tires. Tires are not wearing at Bristol more. Tires are not wearing at all in short tracks. That is a huge problem. Not adding horsepower is a huge problem as well. The next gen is a sports car, and it should not be running a short track. It should not be, and it is definitely not a short track car. It performs terrible at super speedways, at super speedways like Daytona and Talladega, and especially short tracks like Bristol, Martinsville, and Richmond. The one thing I do not want to see is short tracks. Is short tracks being taken away from schedule. I mean, Richmond had already lost a date, and Dale Jr. did not want that track to be cut to lose a date. I don't want Martinsville to lose a date. I don't want Bristol to lose a date, and I certainly don't want Iowa to lose a date because the Sprint Cup Series just raced there last year. They just had their first race at Iowa last year in 2022. But this issue has got to be. This issue has got to be fixed. The next gen, we need either add more horsepower to the next gen, or move up to, or go to a different generation, because the next gen is terrible at the next gen is terrible at short tracks. It runs well in cookie cutter tracks like Homestead. It runs real in intermediates like Homestead, Atlanta, the Super Speedway Atlanta. It runs real at Charlotte. It runs well at Kansas. It runs well at Darlington. Heck, it can even run well at Kentucky. The next gen could be that track saving grace. The next gen can even be Texas Motor Speedway. Texas Motor Speedway. The next gen could even be that track saving grace. But it is the worst. It is the worst car on running short tracks. Period. There's no other way around it. Steve O'Donnell on the booth. He is in charge of the sport. He is in charge of the sport. I'm not blaming it on NASCAR. I'm not blaming it one bit on NASCAR. It's not their fault. It's not the sanctioning's body's fault. It is the person who runs. It is the people who run the sport. The playoffs they got to go to, because the playoffs are creating mediocre champions. Joey Logano was the worst champion last season, and it really does rub the face. It really does smack the driver that has the best average finish. It slaps him right in the face. And that best average finish is making that best average finish worth nothing. Not a single championship. But this is about the next gen. We get to the playoffs in a little bit. The tires could be the major issue too, but the main issue is the next gen. The main issue is the car. Something needs to be done. This is like the 4th season in the Sprint Cup Series with the next gen, and still it runs terrible at short tracks, and it runs terrible at road courses. We have like 5, maybe 6 road courses on the schedule, and yet the next gen performs terrible at those tracks. Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Coda, even the Charlotte Roval. Charlotte Roval. I like the Charlotte Roval, but that track has to return to the oval. The fall Charlotte race needs to come back to the oval. But this issue has got to be fixed, or else, because the iceberg addressed, so that the short tracks are in trouble. The short tracks are in disaster. The short tracks are in endangered species mode, and that's what, in my opinion, the short tracks are on the verge of extinction. It's something that's not done with the next gen car. Rockingham, North Carolina Speedway has been going back on the schedule. It may not even have a cup jig. It may not even have a Sprint Cup Series date if the next gen performs terrible at short tracks. Something has. North Wilkesboro just got back on the schedule. People are talking about a points race at North Wilkesboro. Auto Club Speedway's been torn down, and that track performs perfectly. And they're thinking about adding a short track at Auto Club. But if this problem is not fixed, Auto Club Speedway is going to be California Speedway is going to be gone forever. We may not even get that track back. It's something that's not done. Nashville Fairgrounds,